Someone needs to explain to me how Tom Brady's considered the greatest of all time. Let's look at this. The first Super Bowl against the greatest show on turf, that was all Belichick and his defense. Tom Brady merely did nothing. He didn't even have great numbers in that game. Second Super Bowl against the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers? Is that some kind of great marking point, though, to brag about? You beat the Carolina fucking Panthers and you barely beat them? And then you beat the Eagles, who their best player was out that game. Well, he played, but he was injured. Coming off a broken limb in a chronoleptic chamber, okay? And then he goes on to lose 2 against the New York Giants. Team goes 17-0, or undefeated, or 16-0, and he loses the biggest game of his career to Eli Manning and the New York Giants. They couldn't even score, 12 points? Then a couple years later, they lose to the New York Giants again in the same manner, Eli Manning. They still can't score points. It's Tom Brady offensively. And then the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, my God. I mean, you want to talk about a gift? All they got to do is run the ball with the best running back in the 1-yard situation. They don't do it, the game's over. Dumbasses. That should have been a loss. And then you got the 28-3 debacle. All you had to do was run the ball and you win the game. They blew that game. The Falcons. That's not even a win. That's a win. That's a win by the Falcons being that bad. All right. And then Nick Foles. Nick Foles. You let the greatest quarterback of all time loses to Nick fucking Foles? Are you kidding me? That's unheard of. Nick Foles beats you in the Super Bowl, the biggest game of the year. Nick Foles wins. And then the Rams the second time. Defense won that game. Not Tom Brady. Couldn't even put points up. And then we got this Super Bowl here. Did Tom Brady win this game, or was it the defense that smothered and shut down the fucking... You could have scored 9 points or 10 points and won this game. Tom Brady didn't do nothing to win this game. It was all defense. So let's be honest about it. The biggest games of the year, and it would be 10, because what, Tom Brady's got 7? In the biggest games of the year, Tom Brady hasn't really played that good. Not at all. The defense has won about 6 of them Super Bowls, or at least 5. So, the greatest quarterback of all time, listen, Brady's a top 10 quarterback. I'm not denying that. But the greatest quarterbacks of all time don't lose to Nick Foles in the biggest game of the year. They don't lose to Eli Manning in the biggest game of the year twice. You don't do it. So, you want to talk about greatest quarterback of all time. And you were not even... Since when does championships... Who made this thing up that you have to have championships to be the greatest of all time? I don't understand that at all. I mean, come on, Dan Marino, he's not considered... He's better than fucking Brady by far, not even close. So, to have a champ, that don't mean shit. Charles Barkley's one of the greatest basketball players I've ever seen in my fucking life. And he don't have a title. And let's be honest about it. If it wasn't for this stupid notion that you had to have titles, LeBron James would have been content with winning 2 or 3 instead of having to go chase titles. I mean, it's just a fact. Titles mean nothing. You know what titles mean? It means you have the best team. That's what it means. That's what it means. That's what it means. So, Trent Dilfer has a title. Is he better than Dan Marino? Nope. Russell Wilson has a title. Is he better than Dan Marino? Nope. Dan Marino was so good. If Dan Marino played in today's game with the rules set up the way they are, he'd have 8,000 yards a year and 70 touchdown passes easily. He was the best quarterback I ever seen, and you young ones never seen it. Because back then, football was played the way it was supposed to be played. Tom Brady back in the day wouldn't have been... Honestly, Tom Brady, with the way when Dan Marino played, he would have been in and out of the league in 1 year. Would have never been able to play in that era. It's just impossible. These players today couldn't withstand that because back then it was just a different game. So you put a guy like Marino in this era, he's going to have, like I said, he's going to set records all over the place. And that's just a fact. The way the NFL is sitting today, it's pretty bad. Quarterbacks, you can't touch receiver. You can't hit receivers. And that leads to a lot of completions now over the middle because the receivers ain't got to worry about getting hit. Makes the quarterback's number go way up higher. Can't touch a quarterback. Makes the quarterback go way up higher. So, yeah, Brady's a top 10 quarterback, but the best of all time, not even close. Not even close. Dan Marino's way better than him. I'll tell you that right now. And Steve Young's better than him. He played in a tougher time. Joe Montana's better than him. He played in a tougher time. See, back then, Tom Brady's numbers would have never been the way they are right now. And the game was that way. And you just got to accept this. I'm right. You know I'm right. Football was football back then. Now it's still football, but it's basically a high school offensive point. Although I will say Tampa Bay's defense, unbelievable what they did to the fucking Chiefs. And part of that was because of Chiefs' stubbornness not to change. Like Kevin Stefanski did against the Jets. But anyway, yeah, Tom Brady, he's a top 10 quarterback, probably around 8th or 9th. But the best of all time, that's laughable. The best quarterbacks of all time don't lose to Eli Manning twice and Nick Foles. A journeyman quarterback at best.